Assalamu alaikum. I am Gayoor Ahmad with yet another English lesson, topic punctuation. Dear friends, today we will discuss the use of semicolon. Friends, semicolon is a punctuation mark used chiefly in a coordinating function between major elements such as independent clauses of a compound sentence. These are as basic as a period staked on top of a comma. Friends, does that mean we can use it like either one? No, don't get your hopes up. The most common use of the semicolon is to join two independent clauses without using a conjunction. Then friends, can we use a capital letter after the semicolon? The general answer is no. Friends, a capital letter is used after the semicolon if the word following it is a noun or an acronym. For example, we can go to the library to do some research. Fridays are pretty quiet there. In this sentence, the word following the semicolon, that is Friday, is a proper noun and therefore starts with a capital letter. Otherwise, semicolon is not followed by a capital letter. Note, semicolons are not interchangeable with commas and periods. They are somewhere in between, stronger than a comma, but not quite as divisive as a period. Friends, here are the rules for the use of semicolon. Number 1. Semicolons connect related independent clauses. My dear friends, semicolons join two independent clauses which are closely related to each other. In other words, we can say that the group of words on either side of the semicolon should form complete sentences, and the two sentences should share a close logical connection. For example, Rashid has gone to play cricket. His sister has gone to the library. The two clauses on either side of the semicolon are complete thoughts but are related to each other and therefore separated by a semicolon. Similarly, money is the root of all evils. I don't believe the reverse is necessarily true. Again, the two clauses are closely related and hence separated by a semicolon. Notice that the letter following the semicolon is not capitalized if the word is not a proper noun or an acronym. That is exactly why we cannot substitute a comma for a semicolon. Using a comma instead of a semicolon in the sentences would result in a comma splice. And friends, there is nothing as painful as a comma splice. Note, comma splice has been discussed in the previous lesson. Number 2. Delete the conjunction when you use a semicolon. Dear friends, normally it is the coordinating conjunctions, for example, and, but, or, etc., that are used to join independent clauses. But semicolons can do that too, as discussed earlier. However, conjunctions and semicolons cannot be used together. That means when we use a semicolon, we use it in place of the ands, buts, and ors. We don't use both. For example, I saw a magnificent albatross and it was eating a mouse. This sentence has two clauses and the two clauses are joined by a conjunction and. But this sentence can also be written without the conjunction and the conjunction being replaced by the semicolon. I saw a magnificent albatross. It was eating a mouse. This is without the conjunction. the conjunction is replaced by semicolon between the two clauses. Friends, you can see that we need a comma plus something to avoid a comma splice. That something can either be the right conjunction or the period that turns a comma into a semicolon. If semicolons can link dependent clauses that would otherwise have a period or a conjunction between them, that means they can demonstrate contrast too. This is part of the same rule. The conjunction in question is but instead of and. Now friends, look at this sentence. This is part of the same rule, but the conjunction in question is but instead of and. In this sentence, we have a contrast. The first part, or the first clause, refers to the rule which talks about the use of and to join two independent clauses. The second part refers to the use of but to join two clauses while showing contrast. This sentence can be written by removing the but and using semicolon in its place. Thus the sentence becomes, this is part of the same rule. The conjunction in question is but instead of and. But has been removed and semicolon is used in its place between the two clauses. So, if the two clauses are in contrast to each other, that is, the ideas are opposed or contradictory, that doesn't mean they aren't related enough to be linked by a semicolon. To summarize, a semicolon links up two related ideas by narrowing the gap between the ideas of two separate sentences, or by replacing a conjunction between two related ideas. That goes for showing contrast too. Just because two ideas are opposed or contradictory, that doesn't mean they aren't related closely enough to earn themselves a semicolon. Number 3. Use of semicolon in a serial list. Dear friends, we can use semicolons to divide the items of a list if the items are long or contain internal punctuation. The semicolon helps the reader to keep track of the divisions between the items. Let's look at an example, as that is the easiest way to understand this use of the semicolon. Friends, suppose I want to list 3 items that I bought at the grocery store: apples, grapes, and pears. In a sentence, I would separate these items with commas. For example, I bought apples, grapes, and pears. Apples, grapes, and pears are separated by commas. Now suppose that the 3 items I want to list are described in phrases that already contain some commas. For example, shiny, ripe apples. The 2 adjectives shiny and ripe are separated by a comma. Small, sweet, juicy grapes. The 3 adjectives small, sweet, and juicy are separated by commas. And firm pears. Friends, if I use commas to separate these items, my sentence looks like: I bought shiny, ripe apples, small, sweet, juicy grapes, and firm pears. The nouns and the adjectives all are separated by commas. And that middle part is a bit confusing. It doesn't give the reader many visual cues about how many items are there in the list, or about which words should be grouped together. Here is where the semicolon can help. The commas between items can be bumped up a notch and turned into semicolons so that readers can easily tell how many items are there in the list and which words go together. Therefore, the sentence becomes: I bought shiny, ripe apples, small, sweet, juicy grapes, and firm pears. The items: shiny, ripe apples. Item number 2, small, sweet, juicy grapes. And item number 3, firm pairs are separated by semicolons. Second example. Let's recap. So far, we have got semicolon for linking two independent clauses, replacing conjunctions, whether showing similarity like and or opposition like but, and long comma-loving lists. Here we have three items, and items are long, and one of them contains an internal comma. The three items are for linking two independent clauses, replacing conjunctions, whether showing similarity like and or opposition like but, and the third item is long comma-loving lists. And these three items are separated by semicolons. Number 4, use of semicolon with conjunctive adverbs. My dear friends, a conjunctive adverb, also called adverbial conjunction or subordinating adverb, is an adverb that connects two clauses by converting the clause it introduces into an adverbial modifier of the verb in the main clause. Friends, typically adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Conjunctive adverbs, however, are used to modify two independent clauses and join them together, behaving more like coordinating conjunctions. Moreover, nevertheless, however, otherwise, therefore, then, finally, likewise, and consequently are some common conjunctive adverbs. And dear friends, when we have a conjunctive adverb linking two independent clauses, we should use a semicolon before it. For example, I need to go for a walk and get some fresh air. Also, I needed to buy some flowers. The two clauses have a conjunctive adverb between them, and the conjunctive adverb has a semicolon before it. Similarly, I'm not all that fond of colors of irises. Moreover, they don't smell very good. The two clauses have a conjunctive adverb moreover between them, and this conjunctive adverb has a semicolon before it. Friends, that was about the use of semicolon. We will discuss the use of some other punctuation mark in our next lesson, and till we meet again in the next lesson, it is goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.